Whenever a person is sharing information, they are teaching or training. A teacher, a professor in a college is teaching. They're sharing information. They're taking information out of a book and they're helping to put it into your brain. They're helping to tell you in a way that you'll remember that information. Or training, maybe more of techniques on steps on how to do things. Training might be conditioning. Conditioning is a great word for training. It's helping people to know how to do something. When you're sharing information, that's teaching or training. And in our business, we do a lot of teaching and training, don't we? We train people how to make pizzas. We train people how to do lots of things, how to clean things, how to do things in order, how to prep things. So whenever somebody is sharing their experience, they are mentoring. So, it's pretty obvious that in any industry, you're going to have some veterans that have been around for a long time, and they've done this for a long time, and they've done a lot of different things in a lot of different ways and made a lot of mistakes. And other people are just getting started. Maybe somebody else is just getting started in their leadership journey. Maybe they're a shift leader, or maybe they're a new general manager. And so when somebody shares their experience and puts their arm around them and says, hey, look, let me help you understand this a little bit better by telling you about what I went through. And maybe by helping you understand what I went through, maybe that can help direct you in a better way. So sharing your experience is mentoring. Whenever someone is sharing their expert advice and developing strategies, they're consulting. So this is a little bit different than experience and mentoring. So when you're sharing your expert advice and developing strategies, you're consulting. So this would be the consultant then is somebody with a skill, a particular skill, something that they are really, really good at and that they could consult in. For instance, like for me, I'm not going to consult anybody in the medical field. It just doesn't make sense. I don't have any expertise in the medical field. I could consult somebody when it comes to maybe operating a pizza place. That makes sense. I might be able to consult with somebody that's interested in foster care because I've been in foster care for a while. Maybe fantasy baseball or football because I've done that for a lot of years. But there's so many things in the world, most things in the world, that I have no business being a consultant because I don't have any expertise in it. In fact, every one of us on this call and every person in the world only has just a small handful of things that we're really, really good at that we should or could give expert advice on. Most everything else we shouldn't touch because we're not really experts in that many things, except for things about us. So expert advice, developing strategies is consulting. Whenever someone is asking questions to understand your past and determine cause of behavior, they're counseling or therapy. So they're trying to ask questions to understand your past to find out what the causes of your behavior is so that you can confront those causes and overcome them and become a better person, become unstuck possibly, or get past emotional wounds or whatever it might be. But that's counseling, and that's something that not very many people can be really good at counseling. Coaching, for instance, is something that more people can do. Counseling is pretty specific because you're messing with people's psyche. You're getting into emotional. You're getting into the emotional lives of people, and so that's an area that we need to be very careful with, and we need to know our boundaries as we coach our employees too. We need to know when to suggest that they see somebody with maybe a counseling degree or somebody else that can help on a greater level. Now, we just so you know, you guys, I think you know this already, but we do a little bit of counseling all the time as leaders, even in the restaurant business. When people are feeling down, we'll talk to them, find out what's going on. Is there something going on at home? Is there anything I can help you with? Maybe you can just cheer somebody up a little bit. That's a little bit of counseling, a little bit of therapy, but we need to know our boundaries on that. And counseling is not the same as coaching, for sure. It's quite different. To give you an idea, coaching talks about the future, counseling talks about your past, which moves us into the next one here. Whenever someone is asking open, explorative questions and listening deeply about your dreams and desires, they are coaching. See, coaching is all about the future. It's about helping somebody understand what it is they want in the future, what they want to become, and what their dreams and their desires are. And a coach will help remove those obstacles so that that person can clearly see that and work towards their dreams and their desires. And oftentimes that's through goals. Goals are just the steps that take you to your vision or your dreams or your desires. The goals are the steps to get there. We should never just focus on goals instead of dreams and desires and vision, because goals alone isn't going to get us anywhere. But if we can have our vision of what we want to become, what we want to do, and we have goals to help us get there, a coach is the person that will help us get there, because that's what they're focused about. They're focused on what's going on in the future, and they're committed to helping you get there. So just a quick review. Teaching is sharing information or knowledge. Training is sharing systematic processes. Mentoring is sharing their experience and wisdom. Consulting is sharing expert advice and developing strategies. Counseling is understanding the past to determine causes of behavior. And then coaching is asking questions and listening deeply to answers to understand what the desire of the future may look like. Okay, so you may wonder, why do we need to have a general understanding of what these things, all of these things are? Well, part of it is because we're going to use all of these. Think of each one of these as a different tool in your tool belt. We use all of these at different times in our work. As a leader in the service industry, we're going to use them all. The key is, if we understand the difference between them, we'll know when to put one tool away and bring the other tool out to use. We don't want to be using hammers when a screwdriver is supposed to be what we use. We don't want to be trying to mentor somebody when we need to be coaching them. Now, maybe mentoring and coaching go hand in hand at times. They certainly do. In fact, many of these go hand in hand at times. You may have a sit-down session with one of your employees or somebody that you're coaching, and you're helping them to move forward. And so it might require some teaching. So maybe if you've got a couple of hours that you're talking with them, maybe you'll spend a half an hour on just teaching them some new ideas on something. There might be a little bit of time when you're mentoring, and then there should always be a little bit of time for coaching. And I'll tell you, usually coaching is what is missing most often. Teaching is easy. We like to tell people how smart we are. We like to tell people cool things and have them learn from us. It's an exalting thing for us to do. Training the same way. Even mentoring, we like to share our experience and feel superior to other people by letting them know that, hey, I have more experience than you, and let me tell you why. Consulting is the same way. Some people are know-it-alls. We like to be know-it-alls. That's how most of us think. We like to develop strategies and give our expert advice. We like to do those things. Coaching is a little bit different because coaching is really the most selfless act out of everything on this list. In order to be a coach, you really need to check your agenda at the door, and you need to make it about the other person, because after all, your job in this case, when you're coaching somebody, is the success of the other person, and not success on your terms, but it's success on their terms, which is completely different. So it's not about, a coach doesn't set goals. A coach doesn't determine what those goals are. A coach doesn't frame a vision for somebody. A coach asks a lot of questions and helps other people develop the division that they want. Now, sometimes people don't know what they want. They don't know what goals to even think of. They don't know what their vision looks like. So a coach's job in that place is to make it about them and find out. Get them to think about some of the hard questions that they haven't thought of much, or maybe that they thought of a long time ago but they've abandoned since. And so a coach helps a person develop their own vision, and then systematically helps to remove the obstacles that are in the way between them and their vision. And sometimes this takes a lot of time. Coaching isn't something that you can sit down once or twice and just solve that person's problems. In fact, coaches don't solve anybody's problems. Coaches help people learn how to solve their own problems. And that's another thing that makes coaching unique amongst some of these other ones, like consulting, for instance. Consulting is about solving people's problems. It's coming in, maybe you're getting paid, maybe you're a consultant for an accounting firm, so you go in and you do an audit on the whole thing, and you look at and you draw up your conclusion of what you believe is the solution to their problems. You present it to them, they pay you, and you move on. And it either works or it doesn't work. That's solving problems. Counseling can be an element of solving problems too. Mentoring, training, all of these are solving some kind of a problem, but coaching is different. It's still solving a problem. It's helping somebody else solve their own problems though. And so that's a major distinction that you have to have if you enter into the world of coaching. You have to realize that your goal is to get other people to be self-sustainable, not to be dependent on you or anybody else. It's to help them move through the dependent, independent, and interdependent stages that we've talked about in some of our other trainings. So